today's lesson is just wrapping up chapter 3.4. We're going to go over some factoring where we have to factor out a monomial or the greatest common factor before we factor the rest of it, and we factor completely. And then also we'll be going over the factor theorem, which will be on the test, so that's something you'll definitely want to know. So I'll be doing a bunch of examples and then I'll cover the factor theorem. All right, so first of all, we have, like I said, I'm just doing a bunch of examples. In this one, like I said a couple of lessons ago, the first thing that you need to do when you are factoring is look for the greatest common factor and a monomial that you can factor out, because it makes things a lot easier. So looking at this, you might think, oh, I've got to do guess and check, or I've got to do the Xbox method, but watch. Hopefully you notice that you can pull out an 8, and I'm left with v squared plus v minus 6. Okay, now it sure makes this thing a whole heck of a lot easier to factor. So what multiplies to give me negative 6 and adds to give me 1? Well, it's v, okay, we do our v's, and then we've got 2 and 3, and the bigger one is the 3. Okay, so this is this one factored. All right, another example. In this example, we can't pull an 8 out, but we can pull out a 2. So if I factor out a 2, I'm left with 4g squared minus 5g minus 6. And we can factor this doing guess and check if we want to. I'm going to use the Xbox method because that's what I prefer. So I make myself a little x. I drop down the negative 5. Okay, this is the part that I'm going to add. Okay, 4 times negative 6 is negative 24. This is the part I multiply. So what multiplies to give me negative 24 and adds to give me negative 5? Well, it's negative 8 and 3. So I am going to rewrite negative 5g as a sum of these two numbers. So now I have 4g squared minus 8g plus 3g, that's what these two are, minus 6. So again, you notice that this is exactly the same as this, except I changed the middle. And now I factor by grouping, so I can factor out a 4g, and then I've got g minus 2. And over here I can factor out a 3, and I have g minus 2. So my final factors are going to be 2, okay, from up here, times g minus 2, that's these two, right? And then I have left 4g plus 3. Okay, now any of these, you can pause before I even do them. Actually, I'd recommend that. Pause before I do any of these problems and try them first, and then watch me do them. Okay, so for this example, I look and I see that I can factor out, I can't factor out a 12 or a 4, but I can factor out a 3. So if I factor out a 3, I'm left with 9m squared minus 12m plus 4. Now again, I could use guess and check, I could use, that could work, I could use the Xbox method, that would work. But one thing I want you to notice is when we have a perfect square here and a perfect square here, I do guess and check, and I always take the square root of those to see if that works. So I'm going to do that. So I'm going to do 3m minus 2 times 3m minus 2. Actually, I'm going to leave the 3 out for now, so I'm just doing this middle one. So when I FOIL this, I have 3m times 3m is 9m squared. 3m times negative 2 is negative 6m. Then I have another negative 6m plus 4. So that gives me 9m squared minus 12m plus 4. And that's exactly what I got. So the answer to this problem, okay, this is the right one, is 3 times 3m minus 2 squared. And that is what I want for that one. All right, so this problem here, again, pause this if you want to try this on your own first. Okay, I can definitely factor out a 3 and an x. So I factor out a 3 and an x, and I'm left with x squared minus 4. And this is the difference, meaning I'm subtracting the difference of two squares. So x squared is a perfect square, 4 is a perfect square. So then I have 3x times x plus 2 times x minus 2. Okay, let's do one more before we go on to the next video. Okay, so hopefully here you see that I can factor out a 2, they're all even, and there are y's in all of them, so I picked the smallest one so I can factor out a y, and I'm left with y squared minus 6y plus 9. All right, so what multiplies to give me 9 that adds to give me negative 6? Y minus 3 times y minus 3. So I would write this 2y times y minus 3 squared. So that's kind of similar to the last one. Okay, we'll continue in the next video.